Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be analyzing another song. I'm actually really excited for these series of videos because that is all I do in my free time, is try to feel my feelings and analyze different songs. So I want to start off with songs that have truly helped me heal. This subject in particular has been a hard one for me to discuss, which is domestic violence. It's an area that I want to talk about more because every single time that I have opened up, I get flooded with messages from you guys talking about how much it has helped you or that you've been in the same situation, and that's all I want this channel to be. I want to create a space where you can always take something from my videos and know that you're not alone. Obviously, it's a subject I'm passionate about because I have experienced it, so even if this helps one person, that's all I'm asking for. I wish I saw videos like this when I was going through it, and maybe I would have left sooner, which isn't something that we can harp on because I'm only focusing on things that I can change in the present. But yeah, it is obviously a hard topic for me to talk about, and I have and always will be easy on myself regarding this topic, so when the inspiration comes, I sit down and film, and I wish I could do more videos about this, but I'm going at a pace that's comfortable for me. We've got my amethyst chevron here to help me get through this video. But yeah, the song is called Valentine's Day by Kehlani. This is not the only song that helped me get through this certain situation, but it is one of the main ones. And so I hope in the future that the other songs will be included in this series, but we'll see. So we're gonna get right into the lyrics. The first line reads, "Torn between crying for help and not letting them see me sweat." I actually wrote everything down because this is such a hard topic for me to talk about, and writing has always been an easy outlet for me to express my feelings. And so because it's such a heavy topic, I want to make sure that I am saying everything that I want to say. So I am just going to read it off my phone. So I'm sorry I'm not looking at the camera, but it does make this easier for me. Anyway, I'm going to read the line again since I just rambled, but it reads, "Torn between crying for help and not letting them see me sweat. During my divorce was when I really hit rock bottom, and when I say rock bottom, I mean rock bottom. I was getting over my trauma bond with my ex, dealing with new trauma as well as past ongoing trauma, all while trying to raise my kids, and I was stuck in a place where I needed help, but I also wasn't over what happened yet, and I wanted to look like that strong, independent woman, when the big joke is being a strong, independent woman is asking for help. I truly was thriving in a lot of ways, but that didn't take away from the fact that I was still struggling. I let my pride get in the way, and thankfully I did a lot of growth in that department, and I now think being open and vulnerable is a strength." The next line reads, "But it's certain shit I can't forget. I won't get over it easy. Shit makes me queasy." These lines for me directly correlated to my trauma, and this is something I don't think a lot of people realize who haven't gone through trauma themselves. It doesn't just take a few months and you're over it. Everyone's journey is different, and still to this day I talk about my trauma, and it's healing for me. A lot of the things that happened I wasn't allowed to talk about, so having that space now is empowering and it helps me process. It's been 2 years and I hear people say all the time, "Damn, you're still talking about it." Yes, it was close to 5 years of rewiring my brain. It's gonna take time to get to where I wanna be, and that's okay. There's no expiration date on healing. It doesn't mean I'm not over the person, it's the events that happened that I'm not over. The next line reads, "I am making amends with myself, forgiving me for loving you." There's a lot of things I feel guilty about, like why did I allow that? Why did I stay? But I also now hold a space for myself of understanding. The human brain is tricky, and you don't know how you're going to react to a situation until you're in it. I happened to have trauma before that relationship that made me have major attachment issues, and I forgive myself for not being able to leave sooner. This reminds me actually of the song Last Time. One of the lines are something like, "I'm doing the best with the cards that I was dealt," and that is my takeaway. I did the best that I knew how in that situation that I was placed in. The next line says, "I took a risk loving loudly, defended you proudly, ignored all the signs. Yeah, it's true." There were people who voiced their concerns about some incidents, and by that point the trauma bond was already formed. There were big, major red flags that I ignored, and a big part of this was the fact that I do idolize people. I make excuses for things that shouldn't be excused, and I wasn't aware that I even had these traits at the time, which is so dangerous. I was living in a fantasy world, and when people came to me about things, I would not only defend him, but when asked to do so, I would cut people out of my life, which isolated me to a point that no one was asking critical questions, which is even more dangerous, because I wasn't able to ask myself those questions. questions. The next line says, and the immature me wishes that I could make it known that you should be left alone. I think this line is obvious. I waited a long time to talk about anything online because I didn't want to think irrationally or act on my emotions. I wanted to open up an important conversation, but doing it in the right way. I wasn't going to exploit the situation and give all the details for many reasons. The main one being I don't think it's the right thing to do. Obviously, I am open about a lot, which I think is important, but I do have boundaries with what I will talk about online. But obviously, when you're going through the motions, the immature me did want to make it known, and I'm glad that I didn't feed into that. Those aren't my true colors, and that's not my character. The next line says, don't deserve words or thoughts from me. I could go heal on my own. These lines depict the anger portion of healing for me. I was mad that I was still thinking about it and talking about it, and didn't think he deserved a space in my thoughts anymore. But that's not how trauma works, unfortunately. But a bitch did heal on her own, and I'm so proud of that. The next line is pretty similar to a previous line, but she changes the words a little bit. It says, and the immature me hopes the world sees just who you are. A facade only gets you so far, and I'm bigger than you, so I can't meet you where you are. Again, I feel like this was my feelings when I was still in the angry portion of my healing, which I'm not going to lie, it does come back from time to time. Healing isn't linear. I also used to still allow him to have control over my feelings with the facade he painted online, but I have since realized that if that's where he's at in his journey to feel better, that's not on me. I know what happened. I'm not going to be gaslit any further, so I had to be the bigger person and not feed into it, which was hard. The next line says, I'd say your name, but you don't deserve recognition. You played the hero, but you really are the villain. When I hear this, I immediately think of the facade I created on social media. I've heard some comments from viewers like, wow, he didn't seem like the type. I know. I edited the videos. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes. Obviously, that was a part of my life I was trying so badly to hide. And I feel like I did that almost so I would believe it. And I also just want to note that I do not think that he's a villain. I don't think that name calling or labeling something as harshly as that is fair. I think he made some pretty shitty choices, but I think everyone is capable of healing and changing. So the next line reads, there ain't a bone in me that wants to spare your feelings. I do disagree with this first statement because I did have a trauma bond, so I did still care about his feelings, which was also a big reason why I didn't share everything after the divorce. I just don't think it would have been helpful for anyone involved, including him, but I still wanted to share my story because at the end of the day, this is what happened to me. But I also want to say if you do feel this way, that's valid too, as long as you're not being abusive. You can have those feelings without acting on them. The next line reads, you called me crazy, but it was my intuition. I mean, this one is obvious. This is directly talking about all of the gaslighting. I was called crazy many of times just for asking for basic human respect. I was told my memory wasn't accurate, that I was too sensitive. And you know, it's not like I was completely in this fantasy. You know when you're getting abused. My brain told me to leave, but it was like my heart was the one that was in control. And that's just where I made a lot of excuses, or I believed that things would actually change. And I'm gonna skip some lines because I'm only gonna be talking about the ones that are relevant to my specific story. So the next lines are, I gotta give myself credit for loving as hard as I did. I did try to make it work in many different ways. I did love hard and I tried to push therapy, but there wasn't consent for that until the bitter end when I was finally done, which is also valid. You don't ever have to wait for someone to get better, especially if there's a toxic history there and you're in a toxic environment. That is not your responsibility. The next line reads, I helped you fight your addiction and changed your whole life just to find myself played in the end. For me, this just relates to his anger. He didn't have an addiction, but I did try as hard as I could to help him fight that, and I felt like I not only got played, I left with a significant amount of trauma, and it's hard to look at how many years I tried knowing now that that would be the outcome. I gave so much of myself to end up broken, which I do want to say if you're in a similar situation, we're not broken, but that is how it feels. The next line reads, ain't no regrets, because I'm proud that my heart was so pure. And with this line, I think of my kids. I don't regret having them. However, I will be the first to say that there are regrets in the relationship. I'll be the first to take accountability for that. I regret not leaving sooner, and I regret things I've said to him while in survival mode. It doesn't define you as a person, just like how the actions he did doesn't define him as a person. Everyone has the ability to learn from their mistakes and grow, and I hope that he on his end is doing the same. The next line says, I'm never ashamed of my love. Now I'm finding strength in the fact that you're nothing to me, and I know the things I am above. When I hear this line, it's not necessarily that he's nothing to me. I just think about how I find strength in the fact that his control is no longer something that reigns over me. The next line says, and the immature me wishes I could just run away to somewhere I still feel sane, because truth is I've been fucking lost since that very day. This line was the line that brought chills to me when I first heard it. It describes my feelings perfectly. Even after everything, there were still places I avoided because of trauma. If I had seen his or his dad's make and model of car, even when I knew it wasn't theirs, I would immediately begin shaking. It's hard being surrounded around triggers. I did just want to run away because I was tired of feeling scared. I would check if my door was locked 40 plus times, and the list would go on, which can make anyone feel like they are going insane. I did feel very lost. The next line says, and really I'm wishing that I could just catch a break. It's been hell every couple days, and now I'm here broken, expected to carry the weight. And this gives me even more chills. This is probably the line that was most important to me. I would listen to this song on repeat, guys, for months just so I could hear this line. After leaving, I couldn't catch a break. I got evicted because of the damage he caused and the money he stole where I couldn't pay rent. I slipped into a depression, meaning I wasn't active on YouTube anymore and not making as much money. I was thankful because there still was income, but it really was just getting us by, meaning the car had got repoed, which severely impacted our credit, which made finding a place that much harder on top of dealing with my trauma. I felt broken, and I was expected to carry the weight for our kids. I didn't get time to myself to process. I was a full-time parent, and sorry guys. And I would do it all over again for my boys if that meant that we were safe, but carrying that weight is hard nonetheless. And the last line that was relevant to my story in this song says, I always land on my feet, bounce back, getting clean and neat. Even though life dealt a lot of punches, I still found a way to land on my feet every time. Even though it didn't feel like it, and it felt like I was this close to not actually landing on my feet, I did. It didn't mean it was easy, but I think I handled everything amazing for what I was going through. I'm very proud of myself and where I'm at. I mean, now I'm in Washington, safe, and I'm bouncing back. And if you relate to my situation, wherever you're at in your journey, I want you to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, even when it doesn't feel like there will be. And it might take a very long time. You will get where you want and need to be. And I want you to really hear me when I say those words, because I know I've been there. It doesn't feel like it, but you need to hold on, because you can do this. And you will do this. And I will validate the fuck out of you. It is hard. You could bitch and moan the entire time that you're doing it. And it definitely felt like that's what I was doing. Just be easy on yourself. And I say this in every video. I'm gonna say it in this one as well. My DMs are always open. I do try and message all of you guys back. That doesn't mean I do, because I still have boundaries with my own mental health. But I do try because I've been there and I know how alone you can feel. And I want you guys to know you're not alone. If you feel comfortable commenting, and if it's safe to comment, we could even create a community down here. That's something I really want to do, is not necessarily create a platform, but create some community where if I can't message you guys back, you guys at least have each other. And maybe I could figure out how to do that on Instagram. If you have any ideas, you could also comment that down below. And I hope that this helped in some way, shape, or form. This song helped me through my healing tremendously. Pretty sure Kaylani was also in an abusive relationship. I don't know if this song was correlated to that relationship. And yeah, I just highly recommend looking up the song, even if you relate to it in a complete different way. That's what's beautiful about music. Proud we got through this video. I'm sorry I was looking at my phone the entire time, but that's really the only way that I think I could have gotten through this video. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.